A diesel coupe. How British. Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2017 BMW 420d. Now, being a big fan of the 6 Series that came out back in 2011, I wasn't entirely convinced when BMW released its smaller brother. Is it good in its own right though?
A really big thank you to the accommodating, thoughtful and helpful staff here at ASJ Motors. They have a huge selection of quality used cars located in 2 locations in the Overberg region. One is in the industrial area of Hermanus, the other is located on the main road of Verliesdorp. They are open for business, so be sure to check out their catalogue, link in the description box below.
If you live in the Western Cape and you have an original car in good condition you would like me to review, please get in touch. There's an email address in the description box below. While this is technically the first generation 4 Series, it isn't the first of its type from BMW. This is merely the coupe version of the F33 Series sedan, and a 3 Series coupe goes all the way back to the very first 3 Series ever. In fact, the first generation, the E21, was built only as a 2-door. Now, it must be said, I use the term coupe lightly here, because it was only from the E90 that the 2-door version's design differed significantly from its 4-door brother. This is the F32 420d Auto, and while I lament too many models and model names, M4 anyone? It makes sense that BMW designated it its very own model. It looks quite different from the 3 Series, both in styling and dimensions. It is a 2-door 4-seater as opposed to a 4-door 5-seater. It is quite a bit lower, it has pillarless doors, and it has quite a different, more rounded rear end. Styling-wise, it actually took me some time to warm to it, especially in profile. It looked a bit too flat to me, and the windows were far too big for a coupe. It has grown on me significantly though. I particularly like the rear end. It looks wide and menacing, yet classy and even understated. The front is a tad too reminiscent of the 3 Series though, but I can forgive it for that. You also had a huge choice of engines on offer locally, including turbocharged 4 and 6-cylinder units. You even had an option of a bonkers M4. This is the sole diesel option, an inline 4 2-litre turbocharged unit. Sounds humble, but its power output certainly isn't. 140 kilowatts and 400 newton meters of torque is nothing to scoff at. More on the test drive later though. For now, let's have a look inside. When it comes to brand recognition, few cars can match BMW. There is no doubt that this car was designed in Bavaria. Now, while I love individuality, and this particular cabin might be verging a bit on plain, build quality is excellent and use of materials is good. Fit and finish is near perfect as well, and there's just enough flair to keep this cabin from looking too boring. Now, while some of the plastics might look a bit too black and too cheap, like the gearbox and light switch surrounds, the rest of the materials is top notch. In fact, soft touch plastics extends to the very bottom of the doors and dash, and few cars can say that. The general design is very straight and angular, with bits of curves dotted about. I think it works very well together. I wouldn't call it special though. The interior is almost identical to that of the 3 Series, but whoever said that was a bad thing? If, however, you are more interested in drama, the Mercedes C-Class Coupe offers that in spades, although I don't think it is quite as well put together as the 4 Series. Let's take a closer look though, starting with the door panel. Well, it's pillarless, so it's already really special to me, but there's so much more to it than that. It is very low and long, matching the 4 Series low slung demeanor very well. It is also exceptionally put together. The only slight criticisms I have is the window switch and the door handle surrounds. The door's grab handle is finished in textured metal that both look and feel fantastic. The door pockets are a decent size as well. Lastly, the doors feel nice and heavy, and it closes with a very familiar German thud. A great trick is the seatbelt butler that hands you the seatbelt every time you close the door. It makes you feel special. I love small things like that. Well, the steering wheel is attractive. It looks quite derivative. That's because almost all BMW M Sport models from this era had exactly the same steering wheel. Thankfully, it has a beautiful design, its rim is nice and thick, and it's wrapped in soft Nappa leather. The steering column also has loads of adjustment, which is essential for a driver's car like this. The stalks are self-centering, which does take some getting used to, but you get used to it. And because the light switches are on a knob of its own, the stalks don't look too cluttered. The dials are attractive and simple, much like the rest of the cabin, come to think of it. There are white digits and needles on a black background, making it very easy to read, even though the actual digits are quite small. BMW also added red accent lines, which make a huge difference. The chrome surrounds classes up the place a bit as well. At the bottom of the instrument cluster, you will find an admittedly small full-color drives information display. It communicates a full trip computer, outside temperature, and it is controlled not via buttons on the steering wheel, but via a button at the end of the indicator stalk, which I find quite interesting. Now for the infotainment system. Its graphics is excellent, and it is controlled via a rotary wheel on the center console, a setup I personally much prefer to a touchscreen. It is a very responsive system, it is easy to understand, and these shortcut buttons makes navigating it a breeze. Bluetooth audio, a USB input, and auxiliary port all comes as part of the package. What's more, this Harman Kardon sound system performs beautifully. The only slight criticism I have has to do with the screen size. We get it, we didn't opt for the widescreen. Why punish us with these massive bezels? They are almost bigger than the screen itself. Mercedes does this as well, and I just feel like it's poor shaming. The climate controls, on the other hand, are very well thought out. 2 dials control the temperature, and the fan speed is controlled via a unique button. This is great because you don't have to take your eyes off the road while driving to make sure you hit the right button. I love things like that. BMW was one of the very first manufacturers to incorporate a bespoke gear lever. At first, it looked completely alien to me, but it couldn't be more simple to understand. Down for drive, up for reverse, and a button for park. Couldn't be easier. I also really like the look of it. If Transformers had penises, this is what I imagine it would look like. The manual handbrake feels very sturdy to use, and it is wrapped in leather, adding to the sense of this being a premium product, something you would expect from a BMW. Now, for the seats. Negatives first. They look quite plain. You don't even get accent stitching. Also, while the leather feels durable, it feels rather plasticky and rough. On the other hand, they are supremely supportive, and even though they are on the firm side, they are comfortable as well. BMW even offers thigh extenders, which makes a very big difference when you're on longer journeys. With the design out of the way, let's talk practicality. When it comes to storage solutions, the BMW performs just about alright. The well-dampened glove box is of a very good size. You get 2 wide and deep cup holders, and the door pockets are of a very decent size. I just wish that the center armrest had a deeper storage compartment. In fact, a couple more storage areas would have been greatly appreciated. The rear seats offer up quite a couple of surprises. Knee room, for instance, is very good. You get your own climate vents, a little storage area in between the two seats, and two cup holders integrated into the drop-down armrest. Headroom is very scarce though, and these windows are quite small and fixed in place. I wouldn't want to be sat back here for longer journeys. Still, it is a bit better than what I was expecting. Now for the boot. It is a very decent size of 445 litres. That is great for a coupe. 4 tethering hooks and a grocery hook completes the package. There are even 2 levers you can pull to release the rear seats. The only thing is you have to lower them manually. Still, there is no ridge that hinders through loading, and the boot lip is tiny. So far, I am quite impressed by this 4 Series. What is its driving experience like though? When driving around town, the 4 Series does very well indeed. All the controls are nice and light, and the engine, while a bit rough under hard acceleration and at idle, is nice and refined when you're just cruising about. It's also beautifully mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission by ZF, which is really quick to respond. That, combined with excellent torque from the turbo diesel engine, means that lane weaving during rush hour traffic will not be a problem. It also comes as standard with rear park distance control, so parking won't be that big of a chore. Just be careful not to curb those beautiful and expensive BMW rims. The ride can feel a little bit firm at times. This M Sport model has massive wheels and the tyre walls are extremely small, so the ride does tend to be a bit jittery. Not crashy, just jittery. Outs on the twisties and things are very good indeed. This might be a diesel engine, but this amazing gearbox makes up for it, as it does a great job of keeping the oil burner on the boil. The steering is nice and direct, there's quite a lot of grip on offer, and body roll is really not that bad, especially considering this car's weight. When it stretches out its legs on the open road, again, the BMW impresses. The ride does remain on the firm side, but the seats are really comfortable and at the same time supportive. The cabin is also very well insulated from the outside world. What's more, the great torque from the turbo diesel engine combined with a quick responding gearbox means that overtaking will not be a problem. Yet let down the throttle a bit and it just sits back and munches up the miles, much like a pothead eats everything. When it comes to the 4 Series rivals, there are the 2 obvious choices. The C-Class Coupe, which has a much better looking interior, but can't quite match the BMW's driving dynamics, and the Audi A5. Build quality of its cabin is exceptional, but it lacks any form of drama, which is a pity for a coupe. There are also some left field options though, like the Lexus RC, which is visually very exciting, but the polar opposite driving wise, and the Infiniti G, which represents excellent value second hand, but because Infiniti left SA, dealer network is super scarce. Reliability-wise, the BMW 4 Series does very well. According to whatcar.com, it finished 3rd out of all coupes, sports or convertible cars, with the main problem being leaking EGR coolers. BMW parts are expensive though, so always set some money aside for possible repairs. Also, make sure you purchase a car with a full service history, because that way you know that the car has been well taken care of. For more tips and tricks regarding buying a used car, be sure to check out my full buying guide. Link is in the description box below. I must admit this is a very good all-rounder. It can even work as a family vehicle. That is, if you have no more than 2 small children. It is quite practical, it is fun to drive, it is less common than a 3 Series, and it is just about special enough looks-wise. It is even reliable. What more could you want? Well done, BMW. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you haven't already, remember to smash that like button as it makes the world of difference to my channel. Remember to subscribe and get notified of later videos. I have loads more coming up for you guys, so stay tuned. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Until next time, bye.